Hi guys, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my internship this summer at Alpha Pension Group. Um, Alpha Pension Group is a retirement plan and consulting services company. They manage 401ks for companies in the New England area. The company was founded about 10 years ago by President Richard Cawthorn and Vice President Mark Salomone. Both Rich and Mark were financial agents at New York Life before they started Alpha Pension. And after a few years, they found this niche where they could manage 401ks, and they had New York Life overlook the company and help them get started. Um, Still to this day, New York Life has gains about 50% revenue on every dollar. So it is pretty substantial in the business's overall outlook. So as I said, the company manages retirement plans for companies in New England. Some of the companies you may have heard of are the Basketball Hall of Fame out in Springfield, Massachusetts, and the Black Dog on Martha's Vineyard. Just name a few to give you a sense of what kind of companies we were helping manage. Um, this is a picture of the retirement team at Alpha Pension. As you can see, there's President Rich Cawthorn, Mark Salomone, Vice President, and then Doug Patton, Patrick Nee, and Tim Barry were all financial advisors that helped Mark and Rich manage these retirement plans. Uh, my attraction to Alpha, well, I didn't originally know anything about Alpha Pension. I was applying to companies in the Boston and New York area and trying to meet as many people as I could to find an internship for this summer. And it wasn't until late in the year that I made a mutual connection with Rich Cawthorn, and he had an opening. And after a few meeting talks on the phone, we he offered me the spot, and I was very lucky because I was looking for something in finance, and nothing had really come through until late. So I was very happy to get that kind of late offer. My orientation, it's a small company, so there wasn't any formal orientation. It was just kind of me meeting with one of the financial associates, senior associates, who gave me personal training for one day on the software, the goals of the business, and what I would be doing for the summer. It was basic training, so a lot of what I had to learn, I didn't learn through our orientation. I had to kind of find out on my own and learn from the other interns. My expectations for Alpha, I knew it was going to be difficult. I had no experience in working in a financial company, so I expected to be difficult and a lot of numbers and a lot of Excel work. My learning objectives, well, I wanted to find out as much as I could about the financial services industry, and retirement plan consulting was a good way to do that because it gave me a broad look at a lot of different funds and a lot of different service providers. So with that, I wanted to gain real world experience in wealth management, which is the career that I'm looking to pursue after college. So experiences outside my comfort zone. Well, the nice thing about Alpha Pension is that it's a small company. So I worked directly for Rich and Mark, which meant that I had a lot of responsibility as an intern because the meetings they did and the presentations they gave to clients, they used my work for those meetings. So I had to make sure that my numbers were right. I had to make sure everything was prepared correctly, and that put some pressure on me because I knew they would be using this stuff, and I didn't want my work to be a reason a client didn't like our proposal or didn't like what we were offering them. So here's an example of one of my projects. This was what I did most of the time. As you can see on the left is a recurrent retirement plan for a company. So they're with a service provider such as ING, Fidelity, the Hartford, etc. And those are the companies overlooking their retirement plans. But what we do is we go into the plan that's with ING or Fidelity. We look at the funds and we try to pick funds that have better returns or and lower expenses. So I look at the funds on the left side and I do some research on kind of year-to-date returns, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year returns, as well as the expense ratios. And I picked the funds on the right-hand side to replace the ones on the left, so that the overall retirement plan is less expensive and earning ideally better returns in the long term. Um, so if we liked my proposal, if we liked the funds that I picked, Rich and Mark would look over those and make sure that they were appropriate, and then I would take those funds and put it into another report, which showed, it's called an A/B report. So the A is the fund that they currently have in their plan, and B is the fund that I would choose, that I think they should substitute in. So if Rich and Mark liked my proposed funds, I put together one of those reports, and that would be what was shown to the client. And we make our money if the client likes those proposals. They'll take our proposal with a lower expense ratio. That's the ideally. And then we can add in our own expense. That's how Alpha Pension makes money. That's how we grow revenue, is by lowering the basis points of these funds so that we can add in our own expense. That was the main projects I did. I also did some individual fund research. So I'd have to look at the market sectors for a fund, the stocks, the individual stock holdings in the fund, the expenses, and all the other details that made up each individual fund. And I'd put together notes on those so that Mark or Rich could take those notes into a meeting and say, okay, this is what's wrong with this fund, and this is why we want to propose a new fund. So that was another aspect of what I was doing. So the business environment Alpha, it's a small company, as I said. So I'm working right for the president and vice president, Rich and Mark. And that was nice because Rich and Mark would often be on the road. They had a lot of meetings. They were always busy. So we had to get things done every day so that they were prepared to go out for these meetings. But it also meant that they weren't breathing down our necks all the time. And so we did have some freedom as long as we got the work done before their meetings. We had some freedom to kind of have some fun and do whatever we did. But so the working environment was also, I worked directly with another intern. It was weird because this summer Alpha Pension was set up in two different separate locations. Even though it's a small company, we're in separate locations because the business was growing. We're adding new employees. So me and another intern were actually in our own offices in Waltham, separated from the rest of the business, which is in Newton. They're currently moving to Lexington, so everyone will be in one office. But over the summer we were separated, so I was in my own environment with one other intern, which certainly wouldn't be the way it's going to be after college. But this summer was nice because I had some freedom, and it was just kind of me and another kid my age. Looking ahead, I'd like to be in a business with more people and a more business environment. But for this summer, it was a good experience. So what I learned about myself in the industry, I gained skills in retirement plan services by looking at those funds, seeing all the different service providers, all the different funds. I learned a lot about wealth management, and I got to see what makes up a retirement plan from all different size ranges, ranging from $1 million to $100 million. I also learned about myself that I have the discipline and work ethic to work in a demanding financial industry. Financially, it takes a lot of attention to detail to put this stuff together and make sure that the numbers are correct. A few times I had reports sent back to me because numbers were off, and that was always embarrassing. And I had to, but I grew from those mistakes and ended up putting together good reports that were often used in company proposals. So my preparation, well, as far as doing classes, investment principles was the class that prepared me the best. We did projects where we were looking at different mutual funds that we'd like to invest in. We also did some stuff with Excel, and you had to pay attention to detail when working with numbers. So that's the class that stands out the most, that really prepared me for for this internship, but the nature of any company, they're all different. So you have to learn quickly and adapt to the business you're working for. And I learned that quickly. I needed to learn what the company's objectives were and use the other interns as resources to help me do the best work I could. Positive takeaways: Rich and Mark were great to work with. They were great bosses, I guess, and they gave me a lot of confidence working in this industry because they were flexible and they allowed me to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. And over the course of the summer working with them, they really grew my knowledge and gained confidence by allowing me to do more and more as the summer went on, as they gained confidence in me. So that was a good experience looking forward in this industry. The next step, well, I was fortunate enough that they offered me to come back in the winter with pay. This summer was not paid, which was unfortunate, but it was still a very worthwhile experience. So I will go back to Alpha Pension in the winter and possibly even work beyond that. But in the meantime, I'm continuing to pursue jobs in wealth management. I've begun networking for jobs at State Street Global Advisors, BNY Mellon, and a few other asset management companies that I have some connections at. So I've already started trying to get on the radar of these businesses. I've met with people in Boston a few times in the past couple of weeks to see what they're looking for in new applicants coming out of college and what opportunities may be available. So all in all, Alpha Pension was a great internship experience. I'd recommend it to anyone else looking for a job in wealth management, an internship in wealth management. So I hope you all enjoyed your summer internships. I look forward to hearing from any of you about what you did, especially if did stuff in financial industry. And if you'd like to learn more about Alpha Pension and what I was doing, please feel free to contact me. Enjoy the rest of your summers, and I will see you soon for a great senior year. Thanks.